Hey friends, in this video I'm going to talk about how you can go and say hello to a totally random stranger and try to become acquaintances with them. Acquaintances, I think that's a word. And eventually become friends with them. You don't have to, but if you want to. And these are the people whom you see every once in a while. Like maybe these are the people whom you share familiar spaces with. It could be your workplace, it could be the gym that you go to work out at, or even if you don't see them often, if it's at a grocery store and or maybe some other place. Like if you see them often, that's good. If you don't see them often, but if you still want to do something thrilling, fun, exciting, scary, and go say hello to a totally random stranger, I'm going to talk about how you can. Alright, so the reason I started doing it was because I came across this idea of embracing discomfort, and I think I was reading some kind of book and it was talking about embracing discomfort, and it talked about a couple of things that you could do to challenge yourself and overcome your comfort zone, and one of those things was go and talk to totally random strangers. And I'm going to talk about how you can do this in a less creepy manner. I know you cannot decrease the creepiness level to 0 for this kind of thing, but we're gonna try our best. Right now I'm going to talk about some common beliefs that I had before I started doing this crazy thing. Beliefs that you can call them limiting beliefs, or beliefs that talked me out of doing this. Limiting belief number 1 is the other person would found it super creepy if I were to go say hello to them, particularly if they do not know me. Even if we were to share a similar space like a workplace, or I want you to think about a time in your life when a total stranger came to you and introduced themselves, like said hello, told them who they were and just wanted to say hello or something like that. Basically think of a time when someone else approached you first and you both did not know each other. I want you to remember that time, and if you are like most people, you would feel pretty pleased about it. Like if a total stranger were to come and say hello to me, I would find it like, hey, it was so kind of him to come and say hello to me, like such a nice guy, right? I know, like there are things that you need to take care of. Sometimes you might feel afraid if someone were to do this in a dark alleyway. I would be scared too, but we're talking about a well-lit public space, and probably someone who you could trust, like someone who doesn't look like as if he's going to rob you immediately. Alright, so the second response to this same limiting belief is about projection. So the belief was other people would find it strange if I were to go say hello to them and introduce myself. And here's where projection comes into. If you're not familiar with it, projection is when we place our own feelings onto someone else subconsciously, kind of subconsciously. Like the way projection works here is that I am the one who find it really strange to go say hello to the other person, but because I am not fully aware of this feeling of my own, so I would project this feeling onto the other person by replacing I in my feeling with the other person. For example, like the original feeling that I had was I am the one who finds it strange to talk to other person, and projected belief would be the other person is the one who finds it really strange for me to come and say hello to them. So here's how projection works. I hope it makes sense. So basically I was just projecting my feelings onto the other person without realizing it, and this thought that I find it strange to go say hello to other people, or that the other people would find it strange if I were to say hello to them, I think it underlies a deeper desire of us humans wanting to be liked by other people. This desire makes sense. We should like feel this way. We would want other people to like us, but again, we do not want to take this to very extreme. Also, trust me on this, you would be okay even if other people end up finding you as a creep. your sense of well-being does not depend upon other people finding you a creep or not. It's not like you would be struck with lightning or you would end up dead if someone else finds you creep. Alright, so moving on to limiting belief number 2, which is when I am approaching a stranger and trying to talk to them, what if one of my friend or colleague is present nearby and watching me? They would find me super weird and they would start talking about me all over the workplace or whatever place it is, and I would end up as the creepiest guy on that place. My response to this, I think, okay, the other person might, like your friend or colleague or whoever there is, they might find it a little weird, a little awkward, a little funny, and they might tease you about it for a while, but there's this thing called a spotlight phenomena where we think that everyone else in the world is thinking about us, but that's frankly not true. No one has time to think about you when they have so much else going on in their lives, and this might hurt your ego, but yeah, no one really thinks about you for that long. Also, I think even if your friends were to tease you, they would come to respect you deep down. I mean, man, it could be like, I wish I was that guy who was so not socially anxious at all and be able to go and talk to anyone they want. That is so freaking cool. Alright, limiting belief number 3. Let's say you are approaching someone who is of the opposite sex and you are worried that, hey, what if their like significant other gets pissed off? So here's my response to this belief. Well, one, it's not like you are trying to flirt with a stranger, and to be very clear, like I'm not like this video isn't about hitting at strangers or picking up people of opposite sex. Like this video is more about just overcoming your social anxiety about going and talking to totally random strangers without any fixed agenda. Or if you were to come up with an agenda, I would say it would be to become a person who is familiar to them. Like if you share a space with someone, like if you see someone every once in a while and you just want to become a familiar person to them, like an acquaintance to be precise, and if you both get along well over time, you could become friends. And if they're single and if you both are interested in each other into coming in a relationship, then you could like discuss it later on. But this is more about becoming a familiar person to someone else. And the other agenda might be to just overcome your own social anxiety and realizing it's not so much of a big deal about going and talking to other people. So talking about that limiting belief, what if that other person has a significant other? So my first response was about you're not trying to hit at them or flirt with them. You're just going to go say hello and introduce yourself. Say something like, hey, I see you here every once in a while, so I thought I might come and say hello. Or like we can talk about what are the things that you could talk about with a total random stranger. But here's the idea, you're not trying to pick them up, so you don't have to worry about their significant other. The second response to the same belief is, if you know that the culture around you is such that it is considered really, really strange for people talking to someone of the opposite sex if they are a stranger to them, then I want you to consider this. If you know that this person has a significant other and if that person also frequents that place, I want you to go say hello to the couple together, like approach them not while one of them is alone but when they are together. That way you can, like, you are signaling to the potential partner that, hey mate, I'm not here to pick up your partner or something, just wanted to say hello. And I've done this myself a lot of times. Like back when I was in med school, I would, like, on my way from my hostel dormitory to the library, I would approach couples together. Like if I know this person is with certain other, like I would first try to say hello to them in presence of their partner. and I would say hello to the partner first, something like, hey, I was on my way to the library, saw you two moving around, and I don't think I've met you before. I'm a student here in this particular class. I just wanted to say hello. How's your evening going? Blah blah blah. There are a zillion million ways you can talk about it. We're gonna talk about it later. But this is like this is what I was trying to do, or like this is my response to limiting belief number 2. Okay, so yeah, limiting belief number 3, which was about, hey, this is my workplace, I'm not gonna talk to a stranger here. And like if the belief continues with along the lines of, hey, I would have approached the stranger if I were to if I had come across them in a grocery store or a place that had little importance in my daily life. It's my workplace, I don't want to do this. Word would get around and I would be known as the creepiest guy at the workplace. So here's my response to this limiting belief. I think I touched on it a bit earlier as well, but I'm gonna do it again. Hey, you're not trust me, other people won't find it so strange that you do it, and you are blowing it a bit out of proportion. No one really thinks about you all that much, even at your workplace. And I'm not asking you to hit up I'm not asking you to become friends with that person on day one. You could simply, like, if this is a person who shares the same workspace as you, then here's a simple thing that you can go and say to them. You can walk up to them and say, hey, my name's Abhishek, I think I see you at this place like every so often, and just wanted to say hello because I just see you so often here. And what I do, I run the whatever kind of thing that you do at that workplace. Don't try to brag, don't try. If you're something pretty good in that workplace, I don't want you to say, oh, I am a title this. No, just brief casual mention of the work that you do. Then you could say something like, just wanted to say hello because I see you here so often, and I work the whatever thing you do there, and see you around. And next time maybe you see them walking across the hall, just wish them good morning, or just greet them and move on about with your day. See, this lasted for a couple of seconds. I don't think anyone would find this strange at workplace, and I think the more likely outcome is the other person would feel good that, hey, it was so nice and kind of that other person to come and say hello to me, and there was no big agenda associated with this other than becoming a familiar person to them. Also, another limiting belief which is kind of related to this is, I will hurt my reputation if I were to if the conversation goes weird, odd, awkward, whatever. Then here's my response to this. You don't have a reputation, friend. I mean, okay, even if you have a reputation, then here's how I want you to think about it. I think it's okay, using the word narcissistic would be too strong, but try to get my point, try to see my point of view. People who are afraid that, oh, they have this image to protect and all that things, I mean, it's legit, it makes sense, but I think it is secondary to having an exaggerated sense of self-importance. If I have a which I believe a lot of people have, is huge sense of self-importance. I cannot risk my perceived self-image to get affected in any kind of manner. You don't have so much of a big image in the first place, and no one's really thinking about you all day long. So get over your exaggerated sense of self-importance. Your priority should be to learn and get out of your comfort zone rather than trying to protect your apparent reputation. The next limiting belief, I've lost the count which one it is, but the next limiting belief is, hey, I am an introvert and I don't do this. Like, this entire thing about talking to strangers is draining to me, drains my energy. And here's my response to it. First, I do not buy into this introvert extrovert kind of thing. There's no such um, machinery put inside your brain that tags you as an introvert or an extrovert. Here's what is really going down, and here's what is happening, and I want you to listen to me carefully. If you get the idea that talking to other people is emotionally draining to me, I feel tired and it's exhausting emotionally, then I think it's not that you are an introvert. It's like this is happening because you are thinking about the future too much before approaching that stranger, like a couple of minutes or a seconds prior to approaching that stranger, you're having all these kind of thoughts. Oh, I have to muster this energy to go walk up to them and talk to them. Like, you're thinking about something in the future, and that is, I believe, anytime we think about the future, a task that we need to do, we somehow end up draining ourselves. Like, this is my personal hypothesis, I might be very well wrong, but I think it is kind of draining if we think too intensely about something in the future. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't think about the future. Like, your entire life would collapse if you don't plan and organize things that you need to do in the future, but I think there is a cost to it. The more intensely, stressfully you think about these things, even if you were to think about something that you need to do a few seconds in the future, it can be emotionally draining. Particularly, like, let's say right now we're talking about approaching strangers. I see a person across the space, across a restaurant or across my workplace or a gym, and I want to go talk to them, but I'm thinking right now, how I'm gonna do this. I would come across as weird, creepy, what would they think of me, what would be the consequences, blah blah blah. Like, these are the things that actually end up draining you, and it's not that you talking to them, that experience itself is not what drains you of your emotional energy. And the second thing that also drains your energy is, like, if you, let's say, you listen to me and you go end up talking to them and have a, let's say, weird conversation, because let's say it was the first time you did this, and after that episode you end up brooding about it all day long. You return from your workplace or that place, whatever place that is, and it's keep on going on a loop in your mind. You're constantly brooding about it, you're thinking about it, how weird you looked or what silly things that you ended up saying. If you're I'm not saying don't think about it, but you get the idea. Like, if you're overthinking about it, if you are brooding about it long past that event, that is also emotionally draining in a way. So thinking about the past as well as thinking about the future is what drains you of your emotional energy. It is not the experience itself that ends up draining your energy. So get over this idea, oh, I'm an introvert, I would feel depleted after talking to them. Think about it, try this for yourself, and then let me know if this hypothesis of mine is true or not. I came up with this reasoning because I have felt this way as well in the past. Even I still feel this now sometimes, because I remember, like, I started doing this challenge back when I was in med school. Like, anytime I had this challenge that, like, in evening I go to the library from my hostel dormitory, and I set up a challenge for myself that on my way, like, I would walk my way. So on my way from the dormitory to the library, I would have to talk to each and every person I haven't met before in the college campus. And even before stepping out of the hostel dormitory, I would feel anxious, I would start feeling tired, I would hate myself for putting myself up to do this. And suddenly it hit me that like, I would interact on my way and then return to the library, and then it hit me on one day that, hey, the experience of interaction itself wasn't so bad. In fact, it was thrilling, exciting, weird, odd, whatever it was. But that interaction itself did not drain me of my energy. What did drain me was all my thinking, anxious thoughts that went in my head before interacting with that person. And like after interacting that with that person, let's say things went very awkward, and if I was excuse me, I'm having a sore throat and a common cold. Anyway, so like let's say the conversation went weird, and after like reaching to the library, instead of studying and moving on about with the rest of the day, if I'm thinking about something in the past, that interaction, then that also drains my energy. So like just experiment it yourself and let me know if this is true or not. Alright, so the next limiting belief is I am going to talk to people of interest only. Like let's say like this is particularly important early on, because if you wait until your person of interest arrives, then you're not getting enough practice. And when that person of interest does arrive, because it would be your one of the first few attempts of talking to people, it is bound to go a little weird and awkward. Whereas if you are if you are up and about talking to a lot of people, even those including those particularly those people whom who cannot necessarily give you anything in return, like they are not prospective business partner, client, not someone big in the workplace, it's not like you need to get something out of them, and you won't get anything from that relationship, or even if you were to become a familiar person to them, you're not going to get any materialistic benefit from them. I want you to approach these people. Now after you have comfortably did this with 100 or so people, then you could maybe dial down a little bit, because I know it can be draining if you were to talk to 10 or 20 people every day, 10 or 20 strangers every day. Like that can be draining, and like your time might be better spent elsewhere. But if you're new to this challenge, then I want you to go and try talk to them, to a lot of people. Now of course I'm not saying that hey, go talk to that drug user across the street who looks like he is about to hurt you. No, don't like put yourself in literal danger, but you get the context, right? Next limiting belief: hey, the other person might not like me if I were to go talk to them. Here's my response to this: yes, it is true, the other person might not like you, they might even hate you. And the truth is, no person has the responsibility or the obligation to like you or fall for you or become friends with you. It doesn't matter. Like just do your thing and move on. Alright, so next what I'm going to talk about is not necessarily a limiting belief, but something that plays in this thing that we're talking about, and that is loss aversion. If you're not familiar with it, loss aversion is that losses hurt us more than gains do with the same magnitude. For example, if I were to have 4 good interactions with a stranger, like with 4 different strangers, and if I were to have 1 bad interaction with a stranger, then that 1 bad interaction, that bad experience would negate 4 good experiences. So you would need a much higher number of good interactions to feel confident and feel good about yourself. So early on you would probably be having a weird interactions, like for like 1 good interaction, 1 weird interaction. So you are more likely to feel discouraged. But knowing that loss aversion exists, and loss aversion is what is driving my feelings, then being aware about it is more likely to keep on going. I think loss aversion also arises from this evolutionary instinct to protect our self-image, make sure we're a pack, we include, we feel belong to the society and all that thing. Again, it's true, but you do not want loss aversion to affect you too much such that it interferes with your learning. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how you can approach strangers such that it does not comes across as creepy, or let's be honest, maybe less creepy. Very well, then see you in the next video.